Astonishing things you didn't know. Our body parts our bodies are comprised of different parts that flawlessly met up to assist us with performing everyday capacities. Some of them, like the heart and lungs, may pull more weight than the others. However, we would all be able to concur that each body part is significant in its own specific manner. A few sections have magnificent, specific capacities past their everyday capacities that the greater part of us don't think about. We don't need these organs to have the option to do these things in our day-by-day lives. Yet, for the particular circumstances for which they're planned, they can beat even our best machines. Number 10. Liver can reprogram itself to regenerate. Our body's capacity to mend itself is really phenomenal and something we underestimate. If not for that, each minor injury would transform into a hazardous circumstance. For every one of its benefits, however, our self-mending capacities can't to regenerate lost tissue. In instances of tissue harm, the most our bodies can do is fix things up with scars. Obviously, that is genuine just on the off chance that we bar the liver from the discussion, which is simply the sole organ that can completely recover itself. Researchers have been dazzled by this apparently detached capacity for quite a while, regardless of whether they don't exactly see how it advanced. An ongoing report may propose the appropriate response. In the event of harm, the liver can reinvent itself to mirror the most punctual phases of labor and regrow itself as though nothing had occurred. Number 09. The skin can smell. Being capable to smell our environmental factors is one of the most valuable capacities we have. It makes us aware of any possibly destructive microorganisms in the general climate and tells us precisely what we have to stay away from to stay solid. We've generally expected that it's simply the nose that has this capacity. In some ongoing investigations, however, we've understood that a couple of different organs, like our skin, may likewise have the option to recognize smells. In an investigation, analysts found that the skin's cell division mode is set off when the skin is presented to an engineered type of sandalwood oil. Basically, a few kinds of fragrances may flag our skin to begin its mending cycle. This works freely from our customary olfactory receptors in the nose. Precisely how our body sees smell, and the exact organs associated with the cycle, is a progressing region of examination. From all the data we've accumulated to date, it appears to be that smell may have different capacities in the body that we're at present uninformed of. Number 08. Our bones are stronger than steel. The bones are perhaps the absolute most exhausting organs of the body. They don't appear to do something besides keep the general structure flawless. Regardless of whether a few of us know the significant job that bone marrow plays in the overall working of the body, they're regularly dominated by the cooler, or hip organs. In the event that we simply tried to find out about them, however, bones are great all alone, particularly with regards to quality. Ounce for ounce, bones are more grounded than the hardest man-made materials like cement and steel. On the off chance that your first reaction to that is, well, at that point how would I figure out how to break them so frequently? This is on the grounds that they're additionally staggeringly adaptable. Researchers have been confused by their adaptability and quality for a long while. As indicated by ongoing examination, it's everything because of how they're organized. Human bones are formed like ropes integrated in a helical structure. Each layer down to the nanoscale rehashes that development. Envision it as a rope made with singular strings. Then again, actually the strings are ropes also that are made with considerably littler strings directly down to a goal of 5 nanometers. Number 07. Eyes can perceive flavor. We realize that our eyes can do some great things, from having the option to find in the night to following things at high speeds. Nonetheless, The entirety of that is still just identified with sight. Did you realize that her eyes can likewise taste? Examination demonstrates that natural eyes are generally acceptable at recognizing flavors. In addition, our visual feeling of a flavor can even abrogate our taste buds. In one investigation, the specialists gave proficient wine testers 2 glasses of wine from a similar container of white wine. Nonetheless, the substance of one glass was shaded red with flavorless color. In an enormous hit to the wine sampling industry, the pundits distinguished the last as red wine. While you may feel that happened in light of the fact that wine sampling is a sham science at any rate, which might be valid, something more confounded was occurring. At the point when the cerebrum detects 2 clashing snippets of data about taste, it goes with the visual data regardless of whether it's the mind of somebody with long periods of aptitude identified with that taste. Number 06. Smelling STD. Perhaps the most concerning issue with modern dating culture is the scarily high predominance of STDs. In case you're not cautious, an imprudent single-night rendezvous may leave you with considerably more than sentiments of disappointment and unfulfillment, like moles. In case you're fortunate, all you'll require is a couple of specialist visits to fix it. If not, indeed, you know how this goes. Obviously, the human body has inherent instruments to identify STDs without experiencing all that. One of them is our feeling of smell. One investigation found that ladies are fit for smelling gonorrhea just from spit or armpit tests of men. Something that in any case steps through a significant number of examinations and clinical visits to detect. 5. It bodes well, as well. As ladies may have built up this capacity to remove conceivably unsafe sexual accomplices, as indicated by contemplates done on mice, there's proof that our feeling of smell might have the option to distinguish substantially more than STDs, including different infections and parasites. Number 05. Mind can manipulate time. As Albert Einstein spent his life attempting to persuade everybody, time is relative. It's just since we have the instruments needed to demonstrate that. And the more we try, the more we find that he was totally right. We presently realize that our view of time is inherently identified with our situation in space and is affected by numerous other apparently inconsequential components. As per science, our brain also assumes an immense part by their way we see time and even can change it when required. This is a direct result of the basic idea that our inner clock is unique in relation to ongoing and is constrained by various pieces of the mind. Ever notice that time appears to pass much quicker when you develop old? It's not simply in your mind. Studies show that our inner clock truly eases back down with age, which thus causes everything outside appear to happen quicker. A similar idea applies when time appears to fly by when we're having a good time. Number 04. Outward appearances can influence the brain into actually feeling those emotions. Our faces can pass on an absurdly wide cluster of feelings. Obviously, not every person is fit for utilizing the full articulation range. However, even the most held among us can do a great deal with the face. In any case, we generally expect that our appearances show what's going on in the mind and never the reverse way around. Incidentally, our appearances can impact our mindsets to the degree that our face can fool the cerebrum into feeling anything you desire it to. The after effects of numerous examinations appear to affirm this. Take the one where they utilized Botox to eliminate scowl lines from patients enduring from depression. The technique wound up reducing quite a bit of their downturn, recommending that looking tragic may add to feeling that way. Another examination found that individuals who are compelled to grin with a pen between their teeth locate similar funnies more amusing than individuals with the pen between their lips, which smothers their grins. Number 03. Sperm can smell. The egg propagation is a genuinely basic method once you discover an accomplice ready to do it with you. Basically, it's tied in with acquainting sperm with the overall region of the egg. However long the lady is in the fruitful time of her regenerative cycle, the two of them should meet up to do their thing and make an embryo. In spite of the fact that we know the nuts and bolts, what precisely happens when sperm advance toward the egg is still not satisfactory. As per science, in any event, it's because of sperm's intrinsic capacity to smell out the egg. Numerous investigations have discovered that a man's sperm has smell receptors like those in the nose, and they're explicitly intended to identify a ripe egg just by its aroma. Presently we don't yet have a clue whether the eggs have comparative receptors that work the other way. However, researchers feel that it's an undeniable chance. More exploration is in progress to see how smell influences the conceptive framework. This has applications in numerous fields of medication, like contraception. Number 02. Our immune system kills cancer cells every day. The majority of us don't exactly comprehend how cancer works. Regardless of whether around 4 out of 10 individuals will be determined to have it eventually in their lives. Despite the fact that the entire cycle is a smidgen more confounded than can be clarified here, basically, it's what happens when the phones fill unusually in any capacity. Subsequently, the expression, threatening development. A few sorts of malignancy quicken the development of the cells, while others back it off, and it can transpire. Malignancy hazard is the value we pay for having such a muddled and advanced development instrument. What we don't understand, however, is that the body is continually battling carcinogenic developments and comes out as the victor a lot bigger number of times than it loses. Our safe frameworks are continually checking for malignant growth cells and decimating them, a cycle that is in progress the entire lives. In a large number of those cases, it accepts an approach slaughtering cells that won't kick the bucket all alone and may transform into tumors. Regardless of our resistant frameworks winning, see huge numbers of the small-scale fights going on in our cells. Malignancy is as yet pervasive in all human populaces on the grounds that the terrible sort of development just needs to win once for disease to occur. Number 01. Vagina has the ability to clean itself because of Big Pharma. Numerous ladies imagine that vaginal release is a type of contamination they have to tidy up to keep things sterile. The market is flush with items that guarantee to improve vaginal tidiness, and obviously, a significant number of them cost a fortune. On the off chance that Big Vagina was a similarly powerful entryway, we'd realize that it needn't bother with any cleaning whatsoever. As men around the globe definitely know, the female vagina is a developmental wonder. At the hour of adolescence, it's colonized by a decent kind of bacteria that step by step shapes a small biological system of its own. Vaginal release is comprised of that microscopic organisms, in addition to other things like bodily fluid from the cervix. And it secures against explicitly communicated infections alongside normally keeping the inward dividers clean. That is the reason if a lady goes to a gynecologist, they quite often advise her to never wash within the vagina. All things considered, on the off chance that they're acceptable at their specific employment at any rate. This isn't to imply that ladies should abandon neatness around their reproductive organs out and out, as consistently cleaning the external region is as yet fundamental.